What's going on, family? We are back again with the last and final video of the series, Going Nowhere Fast, aka Now Here. And the question that you have heard throughout the series is, what are you going to do now that you have arrived at this point in time? There's always things going on. There's always something that we can improve upon. So you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do now? It's very important. So before we get into the last and final key element of continuous growth and improvement, we want to go over the things that we've already addressed before we end the series. So we talked about identifying a goal or something about yourself that you want to improve, because let's face it, family, we talk about improving ourselves or becoming the best version of ourselves here. That is the main thing we're trying to do, because we're trying to get you to the point where you are able to manifest everything, or at least understand that you are able to manifest whatever it is you put your mind to. So the first thing that you have to do is identify exactly what you want to change. And let's face another fact, family. There is always something about ourselves that we want to change, especially if we see it as a weakness when it comes down to reaching our goals and living this life. Not surviving, living. So we identify those things. The next thing you want to do is write it down, family. One of the most important things that the most successful people on this planet Earth have in common is that they write things down. When you write things down, it sort of does something. It sort of embeds that code into your brain. So now you have it on your brain. You know it's locked in there. You have to lock them things in there, family. That's important. You need to write it down, because writing things down helps you remember as well. So you want to make sure that it's that important that you write it in more than one place, so you know this is what I want to change, or this is what I want to achieve. Check, right? The next thing you want to do is figure out what your timeline with specific dates and time periods that specific thing is going to be that you're trying to meet or change about yourself. You have to have a timeline, because you don't want to write something down and not have a specific timeline for you to follow. It does not make sense. You have to have that timeline, family. Timelines are good because it gives you a good outlook on what you need to do in between. The next thing we want to do, family, is create an execution plan. An execution plan isn't that hard to create, but sometimes people find it difficult to execute. I'll give you a quick example. If you're a person that wants to learn how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and you don't, you go to YouTube and you figure out how to make that sandwich based off what the video has taught you. You took what you learned and you apply it to what you're trying to do, and you make that sandwich because you regurgitated what was put into your mind. That is how you execute. It's one example. There's so many ways to execute, but you have to tailor it towards what you're trying to do. Now, after you get the execution plan written down and figured out, you have to keep your progress tracked. Create a progress report, just like they did in school on your grades. Your progress report will be consistent based on whether or not you're meeting the little milestones you put in between each goal. Now, you might have one goal and you might have many milestones up until you reach that goal, but the little things count. The little things that you do more often over time equates to a larger sum, a larger positive outcome, family. That's what we need to understand. It's not all about just going straight to the goal. You have to build up to that. The build up is important. It's like the domino effect. Before you get to that last domino, which is basically the end result of you knocking down the first one, is you have to get to all the ones in between first. Get those milestones checked off before you can reach that goal, so that you know that you're on track. When you fall off track, you know you're off track because you're not reaching those milestones, family. If you know you're not reaching the milestones, take a step back. See what you're doing wrong. Learn what you're doing wrong. Figure that out. Take that lesson and regurgitate it. Allow it to become who you are. That lesson is learned. So now you're applying it to the next milestone that you have to create, or the next milestone that you have to meet. Once you are hitting those milestones, you know you're on track to that goal. And if you miss the milestone, you might have to look at your goal and realign it to a different date and time, family. And once you have all that down packed, you repeat. It is important, family. I will leave you all with this. It is very important to understand that you were given the ability to manifest whatever it is you put to your mind. Don't allow somebody to take control of your purpose. If you have a purpose, walk in it. If you have a journey to take the journey. If you have a process to go through the process, love it, and allow it to make you better. The process will make you better, family. I hope you all have learned a lot in this series, because we have another powerful series coming up after this. Stay tuned for much more, family. Peace and blessings.